relatives, Marjorie had stayed with her stepfather after her mother's death. In his cabin, at least, she had a roof over her head and food on the table. Hugging her horse, Marjorie tried to block out of her mind the most embarrassing, disturbing memories of how her mother had managed to put food on her table and provide lodging for her daughter while between husbands. She had been a paid lady in bawdy houses. And that was where Marjorie's mother had met her last conquest. For the 4th time, she had managed to get a man to speak wedding vows with her. Marjorie had seen right away the sort of man Albert Stout was. He was crude. He was heartless. A cynical, suspicious man. He never had anything good to say about anyone. A trapper, he killed anything and everything without blinking an eye. Ironic as it seemed to Marjorie, after all the men who ran away, this time it was she who wanted to flee from a father. But she hadn't yet saved enough money from the sales of her paper dolls to go out on her own, to seek a life away from the likes of Albert Stout. But she would. Lord have mercy, she would. She gave her horse one last pat and left the barn. Early morning frost lay over the land like a fine dusting of snow. At the Dakota Indian village, the power of the Big Holy was being prayed for. Tom-toms and large rattles ornamented with beaver claws and bright feathers played in solemn cadence. Chief Spotted Horse, a tall, sinewy man of 30, winter-dressed in buckskins highly ornamented with quills of porcupine and trimmed with fur and feathers, watched sorrowfully as several mothers of his village went to the banks of Lake Calhoun. There, Brown Hair, the village medicine man, awaited them. Spotted Horse prayed to his Big Holy that he could retain the courage that was needed to keep peace with the whites. He knew that to go against them in war could mean the total annihilation of his people. His prayer complete, Spotted Horse opened his eyes. Despair re-attacked his very soul when he turned and looked toward the village, where the dead children were being readied for burial. Gently, mothers wrapped them in blankets made fast by buckskin bandages wound around them. A little hand sliding into one of Spotted Horse's drew his attention from the burial preparations. He knew whose hand it was, and relished the warmth of the flesh against his. He turned smiling eyes down at Sun Bear, his adopted son. He was as proud of Sun Bear as if he were of his own flesh. 10 winters of age, the child was a brave with a good heart and clean thoughts. He was being taught the ways of a chief. Spotted Horse's people looked to Sun Bear as their future leader after Spotted Horse grew too weary and too old for the challenging task. "Father, do you blame the whites for the coughing disease?" Sun Bear asked, his dark eyes gazing intensely up at Spotted Horse. Sun Bear hoped that his father's feelings for the whites had not worsened. If they had, perhaps the white paper doll lady would not be welcome at their village again. Sun Bear had seen his father watching Marjorie Zimmerman for many months now, since he had first spotted her at the trading post shortly after her arrival in the Minnesota Territory. Sun Bear had seen Spotted Horse's silent admiration of the woman when she had come to the village, especially after she had given her handmade paper dolls to the children without asking payment for them. Sun Bear had seen how Marjorie had made Spotted Horse's eyes come alive again. He had taken a vow long ago never to love again after losing a wife he had adored. Sun Bear had prayed often to his Big Holy that Spotted Horse would find a special woman to be his wife, thereby giving Sun Bear a mother. He could not deny watching the other children with envy when they were with their mothers. He hungered for a mother himself. He could not help seeing Marjorie as that mother, even though she was only 8 winters older than himself. Spotted Horse hesitated a moment before answering Sun Bear, for he did not wish to speak his true feelings about what was happening at his village. If he started blaming the whites aloud, it would spread among his people like wildfire, and hate for the whites might reach the boiling point. He couldn't have that. He was a man of peace. He fought hard to make it so. His gaze swept over Sun Bear. The young brave wore a fringed buckskin outfit and moccasins. His long black hair was